Yeah, you're dehydrated for sure. Mic check, testing 1, 2. Oh, this water.
That's been sitting in the back forever. I was like, wow, this tastes really good. I'm dehydrated.
Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 10 p.m.
To live in your budget. And, maybe there's other solutions.
Now on News 6, fired up over fire fees yet again. For a second week in a row, people in Sanford let city leaders know just what they think of another tax, why the city is looking at adding that fee now. And we're tracking Tropical Storm Erin, still quite a ways away when we could see the first hurricane of the season. And could high costs put the brakes on Bike Week? New in minutes why Leesburg lost tens of thousands of dollars. Plus, counting down to a landmark launch now less than a day away. What's at stake as ULA keeps up with SpaceX?
We're open to letting anybody go through our boats.
The Florida Doge team descends on Orlando days after digging through Orange County's books. Why commissioners and the mayor say, bring on the audit. But we start now at 10 tonight with a pricey police debate. Fighting to keep their police force after a passionate outcry of support, one local city decides it's worth the extra costs. And that cost is not cheap. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin. Ginger has the night off. Lake Helen is the latest local community to weigh giving up their own force and turning police over to the Volusia Sheriff's Office. The sheriff is promising to save $300,000 a year. News 6 community correspondent Troy Campbell was inside the meeting and shows what convinced commissioners.
It was a packed room filled with people speaking very emotionally about their support for the Lake Helen Police Department. In the end, the city commission voted to keep their local law enforcement agency.
I work for a small city. I've always worked in small cities. And small cities want the service that this police department gives. There is nothing the sheriff's office can do to match that.
Officers with the Lake Helen Police Department addressing the city commission on Monday during a special meeting to decide the fate of the city's police department.
But for you to sit there and say it's not a crime-ridden spot, it's because of these people. It's because they're protecting it. You take them away, you're making it happen.
Some say they don't want to have to look for another job.
You're told that you pick a job or you pick a career. I picked a career. I came here to Lake Helen. I devoted my job here to Lake Helen for that career. I did pick my job for life here. You know why? My pension stays here. If I'm gone, my pension is done. I am 44 years old. Where do I go start a pension?
Members of the public also told personal stories about their interactions with the police department.
You all know that my son passed away not too long ago. We dialed 911. They were at my house. The first person was at my house. Same thing with my mother when my mother was sick. They were the first ones there. And I'll just put it right out front. Those gentlemen over there know the bad guys and they know the good guys.
However, some argued the city needs to focus on balancing a budget after the city said contracting the Volusia Sheriff's Office would save them about $300,000 a year.
The issue here is we have to address our budget. I am retired. I live on a set income, and I don't know how many of you other are. But the taxes that are going up, the ad valorem is going up. I can't continue to keep paying if we can't do something about our budget.
Ultimately, the board voted 3-2 in favor of keeping its police department. How would you describe the crowd that showed up here?
I think there were concerned citizens that make themselves being heard, and they come out when they're needed. And I'm glad that they're here and they made their voices heard.
And the mayor also says the next city commission will be able to once again bring the topic up. However, he says for now, those discussions have ended. In Lake Helen, Troy Campbell, News 6.
New at 10 tonight, taxpayers in another local city turned out for another passionate debate over spending. For a second week in a row, Sanford City Commissioners got an earful from the people fired up over adding a fire fee. News 6's Emily McLeod listened in on tonight's meeting. She breaks it down.
Ahead of Monday night's public hearing on the proposed Sanford fire fee, Mayor Art Woodruff explained this is not something being used to dig the city out of a financial hole, but rather plan for the future. He told me the current budget is balanced, but the costs are going up.
The fire department is asking for higher raises, does not provide additional money for that. If we go to shorter shifts, which the state is pushing, we do not have funding for that. Going forward, this would give us room to do things like that.
We've brought you this story a few times. The proposed fire fee would apply to all property owners citywide. City officials say the Sanford Fire Department needs to raise around $2.4 million annually to help cover expenses and fund critical improvements. The mayor has said the average homeowner would pay about $95 a year.
If it passes this year, it would give us some additional revenue. We did not include a couple of things the fire department asked for, including an engine that we put off for a year. If this passes, we'll be able to fund those things. But we don't really have a decision for this year how we would spend that additional funds, but it would be going to the fire department.
People on both sides of the issue showed up on Monday night.
Live in your budget. And, you know, maybe there's other solutions. For example, maybe Sanford needs to merge with Seminole County. Okay, I know that's very unpopular. I don't like it because I think we're very proud of our fire department, as I said, but we have to look at other solutions.
I'm actually for this fee. I live in the historic district and I drive around, I walk around, and I've been seeing like fire hydrants that are covered and out of order. That makes me really nervous for like my neighbors who live on those streets.
Now, as far as the idea of merging fire services with Seminole County goes, the mayor did say it has been looked at in the past, but it was more cost effective for the city to have its own fire department. The commission did vote to move forward with the next steps, which would be sending out letters to people to let them know how much they would be paying if the fee is approved. A final vote is scheduled for early September. Reporting in the newsroom, I'm Emily McLeod, News 6.
Well, this time around was $35, but it's usually $35 to $40. That's just for half a tank. So it's usually an $80 or $90 fill-up if I need to.
A decision tomorrow could make gas more expensive in Seminole County. Last week, we told you the county is looking into a 5-cent hike to their gas tax. That would shoot the county's tax to 12 cents a gallon, the highest level of any county in the state of Florida. To put it into perspective, Marion, Osceola, and Volusia already charge 12 cents a gallon. In fact, that's the rate in 33 of Florida's 67 counties. Currently, Seminole is in the middle of the pack, along with Flagler, Lake, and Sumter. Orange and Brevard charge 6 cents a gallon for unleaded. Diesel costs more almost everywhere, so how much in total taxes are you really paying at the pump? The federal government charges just under 18.5 cents a gallon. The state gas tax is the highest at 37 cents a gallon. And again, the highest local tax is 12 cents per gallon. Seminole leaders say the extra gas tax money would help pay for road projects and mass transit upgrades. If the vote passes tomorrow, gas prices will go up on January 1st. We'll keep you posted. Another story worth watching. We're now tracking Tropical Storm Erin, and while it is far from being a threat right now, it could soon be the first hurricane of the season. Let's get you over to meteorologist Samara Kukinos in for Jonathan.
That's right. It could be our first hurricane of the season, but it's going to be a little bit of time before everything is all said and done. So I'll have that updated track coming to you in just a little bit. This is a live view from our Mount Dora camera. You can see off in the distance. So some lightning definitely out there, and that is looking to the north and west. It's catching the lightning from these thunderstorms in northern Marion County tonight. So as we take a look and we zoom in a little bit tighter with these thunderstorms, you notice that two separate cells, one over Reddick and the other one just to the north of Dunellen, just to the south of Williston, all moving in that northerly direction. So Williston, you'll be next in terms of heavy rain as well as lightning is concerned with these thunderstorm cells, but they do have special weather statements associated with them for wind gusts up near that 40-mile-per-hour range. Now, we did have this isolated cell where it had a severe thunderstorm warning attached to it in Marion County. That went until 9:45. That has since expired, and now we have special weather statements. So our Mount Dora camera also showing that lightning off in the distance. Temperature-wise, we're at 83 degrees, feeling like 90 out there. Tomorrow, high temperatures are headed back to the upper 90s, 93 in the Mount Dora area, but I can tell you rain chances are between about 40 and 50% for tomorrow. So I'll break down your hour-by-hour rain chances, plus we'll have an updated look at that track for Tropical Storm Erin and the modeling coming up in just a few minutes. Matt?
All right, Samara, thank you. Make sure you have our free News 6 weather app. It has a hurricane app built right in. It sends personalized weather alerts and gives you access to our radar. Search WKMG in your app store. Well, now to a Lake County tradition. It draws close to 250,000 bikers and bike lovers to the city of Leesburg. Bikefest is a boon for businesses, but it comes at a cost. Tonight, Leesburg city leaders learned this year's Bikefest lost the city more than $70,000, making some wonder if they would have to park the big event. City leaders say the money was lost because the Chamber of Commerce was handling alcohol sales. Tonight, after hearing several different proposals, commissioners voted to turn that over to a private vendor so they don't lose money again. Leesburg Bikefest 2026 is now set for April 24th through the 26th. Florida's Department of Government Efficiency team is back at Orlando City Hall tomorrow. Representatives with DOJ were there today to begin an audit of the city's finances and spending. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti asked Mayor Buddy Dyer and commissioners what they think this means for the city.
We're open to letting anybody go through our books. Most of the information they have is readily available through public records requests, but we feel like we're a prudent, well-run city government.
2 weeks after the DOJ team sent Mayor Dyer this letter, the audit has officially begun. Spearheaded by State CFO Blaise Ingoglia, Florida's version of DOJ has been scrutinizing the spending of local governments in the state. In Orlando, DOJ representatives will be taking a microscope to spending on homeless services and initiatives under the Office of Multicultural Affairs, the Office of Equity, and the Hispanic Office for Local Assistance.
Do you view this as a legitimate probe or a political fishing expedition?
I'll pass on that one.
The DOJ letter, which has at least 60 specific requests, claims that annual property tax collections have increased by 55% over the past 5 years in the city, outpacing inflation and population growth. But critics argue that these audits are purely political and an effort to undermine home rule.
We are fiscally responsible here at the city of Orlando, and that's all this will show.
So it doesn't matter what the justification is?
Nope, doesn't.
I don't know what to make out of it, but at the end of the day, audits have a positive purpose also, you know. It exonerates people from any kind of negative thinking anybody may have. So I welcome audit.
In addition to Orlando, Orange County has also been selected for a DOJ audit. Representatives of the team were at the county administration building just last week. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Now to a scary situation on the Volusia County coast tonight, and it was caught on video. Watch as that plane drops from the sky into the waters off Ponce Inlet. What we know about what went wrong. Plus, a countdown that really counts for the future of a big space company. What's at stake as ULA sends up its first Vulcan rocket with a military payload, and just how fast we could see Vulcans launching 2 times a month. And the new world's largest cruise ship has sailed into port. Before the first passengers hop on board the Star of the Seas, we'll take you for a peek inside. First, though, a new chapter in the fight over books in Orange County schools. Next on News 6, I dig into the latest battle over what your child can and can't read in school. You're watching News 6 at 10, live on a Monday night. We're covering Altamont Springs, Bay Hill, and all of Central Florida. Now on News 6, as we dive into a new school year, one topic has been dominating the headlines for the past few years: which books should be allowed in school? This is a polarizing issue. To tell this story, I'm passionate moms with two very different perspectives.
If you watch Orange County school board meetings about books in schools,
it's insulting to say that that's not an informed decision.
You will find two moms fighting for what they feel is the best for their kids.
99% of parents don't know that this material is in our kids' schools.
Alicia Ferrant, mom of 5, is an OCPS school board member who believes the board should curate content.
I feel like it's my job as a school board member to make sure that we protect and defend every child who comes into our schools.
And on the podium, Stefana Farrell, mom of 2. She says banning books from schools arbitrarily infringes on her kids' freedom.
My kids are still young. When they get to that high school age, I want them to have access to books that are going to represent the world that they're heading into.
So here are the cliff notes of this debate. For decades, counties had a process. Parents could file an issue at their school, then a committee would get together, research the book, and vote. Now, 5 years ago, this really wasn't much of an issue. Now, OCPS is taking books off the shelf without looking at individual works.
Recently, the Florida Department of Education told Hillsborough County to get rid of 55 books from its school libraries. It did.
I took care of it, and I took care of it immediately.
Then OCPS said, we have some of those books. We'll get rid of them too.
We will remove the, I believe, 13 books.
It's been very difficult to navigate because there's no clear delineation that this is inappropriate and this is appropriate. And the state statutes make it worse.
Now, according to the school board, fewer than 50% of kids in Orange County are reading at grade level right now. Some argue this problem should be getting more attention than the fight over removing these books. Tonight, we're learning more about what caused a banner plane to crash into the water near Ponce Inlet. This is video posted by the town. There are no serious injuries in this video. You can see the plane drop out of the sky there, causes that big splash, skids across the sand, and ends up crashing into the water. Here's an up-close view of what shows the plane upside down in the water. The FAA says the plane crashed around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Only the pilot was on board. The FAA is investigating. The agency will post a preliminary incident report as soon as tomorrow. Tonight, Port Canaveral is once again home to the biggest cruise ship in the world. Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas arrived at port on Saturday. It has 40 bars, restaurants, and lounges. Also is home to the biggest water park at sea, an ice skating rink, laser tag, and an escape room experience, believe it or not. The first sailing with paying passengers is set for this Saturday. The first official voyage is coming later this month. United Launch Alliance is one step closer to its next big thing. We're now under 22 hours away from the opening of an important launch window. ULA teams are counting down to the first military mission for its new Vulcan Centaur rocket. That thing is 201 feet tall. Centaur is 30 feet shorter than the SpaceX Falcon 9. It is wider so it can carry bigger payloads. The company's CEO tweeted out these images of the rocket rolled out to launch pad at Complex 41. Here's a sped up look at that rollout, also tweeted by the CEO. His name's Tony Bruno. Tomorrow's launch ends up with 2 secret national security payloads for the United States Space Force. The second test flight happened about 10 months ago, but ULA plans to ramp up 2 launches a month by the end of the year. To do that, teams plan to recover the engines and the upper stage on most flights. Tomorrow's launch window opens just before 8 p.m., runs up until 9. Weather looks to be about a 75% chance. We'll carry that mission live on News 6, News 6 Plus, and clickorlando.com. All right, let's get you over to Samara Kokinos. A lot of people wondering what is going on in the tropics, and Tropical Storm Erin is what's happening.
That's right. Tropical Storm Erin formed earlier today, and when we look at the latest track update, this was as of the 5 o'clock update. We'll have another one coming out at 11. Still moving to the west at 21 miles per hour with 45 mile per hour wind, central pressure at 1,004 millibars. Now, when I put the track on it, you'll notice that this particular storm, as it continues to make its way into the central tropical Atlantic, by about Thursday morning, possibly even as early as Wednesday, we could see a Category 1 hurricane. That'll be our first hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic season. weekend, but then it continues to strengthen from there, staying just to the north of the Lesser Antilles and potentially getting as strong as a Category 3 storm. It does have the fuel to do that, folks, but you'll notice that the end of this track is still pretty wide. That means our modeling isn't quite in agreement just yet, and it shouldn't be. I mean, this is pretty far out. You look at the modeling now, and you'll notice that as it takes it across the tropical Atlantic, it does keep it pretty tight there in terms of how much they agree. Then near the end, they start to get a little wonky there. So at the end, they start to all kind of pull to the north and take it toward Bermuda, but it all really depends on where the steering mechanism, which is an area of high pressure, kind of goes and what happens with it. So you'll notice here it is. There is Aaron. Now watch this as we put this back in motion, and this is going into Sunday, folks. This particular system is going to be driven by that area high pressure. Now, as that area high pressure kind of weakens on one end of it, it could bring it a little bit closer to that Bermuda area and kind of offshore from the southeastern or the eastern United States, southeastern United States as well. So we'll continue to watch that. For now, we're not going to say exactly where it's headed because that is still to be determined. Meanwhile, back here on the radar, really not too much action going on. A few thunderstorms scattered showers moving through Lakeland. Thunderstorms up in Marion County. I'm going to zoom in tight to that one. You can see the special weather statements with these, and that is for winds gusting up near 40 miles per hour, and then also the flooding rain. I mean, there's a lot of heavy rain falling just to the north of Dunellen and south of Williston. Williston starting to get a little bit of that heavy rain as Reddick says bye-bye to a lot of that heavy rain. Tonight, as we look through the rest of tonight, you'll notice the clouds and rain forecast shows that we're relatively dry until tomorrow afternoon. I believe after 2 or 3 o'clock is when we're going to see the majority of this action kind of pop up along I-95 and then back to the west as we head into that 7 o'clock hour. Along the I-75 corridor, we could see a few downpours, maybe a few thunderstorms with packing some heavy wind. By 11 o'clock tomorrow night, we could be dealing with just a little bit of rain left over, but that's about it. Our Orlando camera delivering hope together shows downtown Orlando tonight is beautiful, but we did manage to get up to 94 degrees today. It's about 2 degrees above average. Here's a look at tonight.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Tonight we'll have lows right around 77, and then tomorrow at the bus stop, check this out, at the afternoon bus stop, we could be dealing with a few showers, a thunderstorm or two with a high near 95, feeling like the triple digits. Looking at that 7-day forecast though, here we go. It stays hot with weather pretty much unsettled. We'll have a 40 to 50% chance of rain pretty much every day this week going into the weekend. Your high temperature staying around 96 to 95 degrees. Your overnight lows in the mid to upper 70s, Matt.
Today we investigate online marketplace fraud that's leaving sellers and buyers out of thousands of dollars. I'm News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden. In this week's Schemes and Ripoffs Alert, we talk to an Orange County woman who says it happened to her. Coming up. Tonight, we investigate online marketplace fraud that's leaving sellers and buyers out of thousands of dollars. I'm News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden. In this week's Schemes and Ripoffs Alert, we talk to an Orange County woman who says it happened to her.
So I uploaded the app.
Noriella's Maldonado Lutz only wanted to sell a few things on Poshmark.
I went ahead and I started adding all the pictures of my items, doing my profile.
When creating her profile, she says somehow her email address ended up on her public page and scammers were waiting. She immediately got this email, which appeared to be from the Poshmark team, but was really from a crook. When she clicked the link, a chat box came up asking for a credit card and telling her they needed to confirm her credit card information with a test charge. It was a big one.
I'm like, why are you doing $1,400? If I'm going to be selling, why are you charging that much for a test?
She immediately felt uneasy and immediately contacted her credit card company.
They never refunded me the money. They told me that because I allowed them to use my credit card number, that I was responsible for it.
She says she disputed the charge 5 times, but the credit card company held firm.
That it was not fraud, that it was a scam. And I'm like, isn't that the same thing?
News 6 contacted Poshmark, and a spokesperson told us via email, ensuring our community has a positive experience on Poshmark is of the utmost importance, which is why we established community guidelines that apply to all Poshers. They advise keeping transactions on Poshmark. They also say do not post private communications, contact information such as your email address and a phone number or other personal details in any public spaces on Poshmark.
The protection is the protection you afford yourself.
Holly Sammons is the president of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. She agrees with keeping all communication within the platform you're using. That outside email opened the door to the fraud.
And unfortunately, that can be a really expensive lesson to learn.
Maldonado Lutz says she's done with marketplaces for good.
I have literally no apps on my phone other than the phone calls and the text messages from my family.
Why?
Because I don't trust them. I don't trust them anymore.
Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at theinvestigators@wkmg.com. I'm Louis Bolden, News 6.
Hey, you can find all of tonight's stories plus breaking news on News 6 Plus. It is free to download to your smart TV and your streaming device. Have yourself a great night.
Do.